I thought I had found my forever. Amanda and I had been together for 3 years and our life seemed perfect. I had just gotten a promotion at work. We were looking at houses and planning our wedding for next spring. Everything changed when I borrowed her iPad to finish a report after mine crashed. A notification popped up from a group chat named Bride Tribe. My world collapsed when I saw Amanda had called me her temporary supportive wallet, and her friend replied, "Girl, milk it." I froze, unable to believe what I was reading. Before I tell you what happened next, drop a comment telling me where you are watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe, because what I did next changed my entire life. At 32 years old, I had built a stable life for myself. As a software engineer at a growing tech company in Seattle, I worked hard to create a secure future. My parents had struggled financially when I was growing up, and I promised myself I would never live paycheck to paycheck like they did. Every promotion, every raise, every bonus went toward building my savings and investments. I met Amanda at a company holiday party 3 years ago. She did not work at my company, but came as a +1 with her friend who was on our marketing team. Amanda stood out immediately with her vibrant laugh and the way she commanded attention in every conversation. She wore a red dress that night, and her confidence made her shine brighter than the Christmas lights decorating the venue. "You have been staring at me for 20 minutes, she said when she approached me. "Are you going to say hello, or just admire from afar all night?" I nearly choked on my drink, embarrassed at being caught. "I am sorry. I am Glenn." I was trying to work up the courage to introduce myself. "Well, Glenn, I am Amanda. Now we are introduced." Her smile was magnetic, drawing me in instantly. We exchanged numbers that night, and our relationship developed quickly. Amanda worked in digital marketing for a fashion retailer. She was smart, ambitious, and seemed to have the perfect balance between career focus and enjoying life. I fell hard for her witty sense of humor and the way she pushed me out of my comfort zone. Looking back now, there were warning signs from the beginning, but love has a way of blinding you to reality. Amanda always expected me to pay whenever we went out. At first, it seemed like traditional dating etiquette, but even as our relationship progressed, my wallet remained the only one that opened. She always had reasonable excuses. Her rent increased, she was saving for a work certification, or she had helped her sister with bills that month. My friends noticed before I did. Thomas, my best friend since college, brought it up 6 months into my relationship with Amanda. "Have you noticed that Amanda never pays for anything he asks during one of our basketball games?" "She is tight on money right now," I defended. "Her company is restructuring and she is worried about her position. And last month it was because she had unexpected car repairs," Thomas reminded me. "And the month before that it was something else." "Just be careful, man." Kyle, another close friend, echoed these concerns. "She always has the newest iPhone and designer bags. Those do not look like the purchases of someone struggling financially." I dismissed their warnings as overprotectiveness. They did not see the Amanda I knew, the woman who brought me soup when I was sick, who remembered every important date, who looked at me like I was her world. After 2 years together, I proposed. Amanda had been dropping hints for months, showing me ring style she liked, and talking about wedding venues. The pressure to buy the perfect ring was intense. She wanted at least a 2-carat diamond, nothing less. It was far beyond my budget, but I took out a personal loan and worked overtime projects for months to afford it. I proposed at sunset on the beach during a weekend getaway I had carefully planned. Amanda cried when she saw the ring, and the joy on her face made all the financial strain worth it. Both our families were thrilled. Her parents hosted an engagement party where Amanda proudly showed off her ring to everyone. My parents, though more reserved, welcomed her warmly into the family. "You found a good one," my father told me that night. "Just make sure you are both building this future together." His words would come back to haunt me later. After our engagement, subtle changes began creeping into our relationship. Amanda became increasingly focused on material aspects of our life together. The wedding she envisioned grew more elaborate with each passing month. What started as an intimate celebration with close friends and family evolved into a 200-person extravaganza at an exclusive venue with a price tag that made me nauseous. "We only get married once," Amanda would say whenever I brought up budget concerns. "We cannot cut corners on the most important day of our lives." Her expectations extended beyond the wedding. She wanted us to buy a house in an upscale neighborhood despite the astronomical prices. She talked about luxury honeymoon destinations as if money was no object. Each time I suggested more affordable alternatives, she would look disappointed, and I hated being the reason her smile faded. Her friend group did not help. They were all women who portrayed lavish lifestyles on social media despite having ordinary jobs with ordinary salaries. I wondered how they afforded their designer clothes and exotic vacations but never asked. Amanda began comparing our life to theirs, pointing out what her friends received from their partners. Jessica got a brand new car as an anniversary gift, she mentioned casually one evening. And Megan is getting a $7,000 honeymoon to Bali. To keep up, I found myself working 60-hour weeks. I took on consulting projects on weekends, cutting into the little free time we had together. Amanda never seemed to notice my exhaustion or appreciate these efforts. It was simply expected. The night everything changed started ordinarily enough. I had an urgent deadline for a project due the next morning when my laptop suddenly crashed. 3 hours of work disappeared and panic set in. I needed to rewrite the entire section before morning. "Can I borrow your iPad?" I asked Amanda, who was scrolling through wedding venues on her phone. "My laptop just died, and I need to finish this report." "Sure, it is charging in the bedroom," she replied without looking up. "There is nothing private on there anyway." I retrieved her iPad and set up at the kitchen table, opening my email to access the project files. As I worked, notifications occasionally popped up at the top of the screen. I ignored them until one caught my eye, a message from a group chat named Bride Tribe that showed a preview mentioning my name. My finger hesitated over the notification. I had never invaded Amanda's privacy before, but seeing my name triggered my curiosity. I told myself I would just check this one message, nothing more. I tapped on the notification. The conversation that loaded shattered my world. "Amanda, do not worry about the wedding costs. My temporary supportive wallet will handle it all, lol. Jessica girl, milk it. Get everything you can before you find someone better." Amanda Wright, Glenn is nice but so boring compared to Mark from marketing. But Glenn has the stable income I need right now. Megan, smart girl. My cousin did the same thing. Married the stable guy, divorced him after 3 years. Got half his savings and a nice monthly check. Amanda, I am not saying that is my plan, but keeping options open never hurts. Jessica, men are so clueless. They really think we care about their dad jokes and video games when all we want is the lifestyle. Amanda, Glenn thinks I actually care about his boring programming stories. I have mastered the art of the fake interested face. They had even exchanged memes about gold digging and trapping men financially. The conversation continued with them laughing about how Amanda had convinced me to buy the expensive engagement ring, with her bragging about how she had manipulated me by withholding affection until I agreed. I felt physically ill. The room seemed to spin as I scrolled up through months of similar conversations. Countless instances where Amanda had mocked me to her friends, shared private details of our relationship, and openly discussed using me for financial stability while she waited for someone more exciting. There were even messages about a co-worker named Mark, with whom she had been flirtatiously texting. Nothing explicitly indicated physical cheating, but the emotional betrayal was clear. Her friends encouraged her to keep me on the hook while exploring options with Mark. I put the iPad down, my hands shaking uncontrollably. The report deadline no longer mattered. Nothing mattered except the crushing realization that the last 3 years of my life had been a lie. The woman I loved, the future I had planned, the family I imagined, building it was all based on a foundation of deception. I did not sleep that night. I paced our apartment, alternating between rage, heartbreak, and disbelief. By morning, my eyes were red and swollen, but my mind had cleared. I needed more information before confronting Amanda. While she showered before work, I quickly checked her iPad again, taking screenshots of the most damning conversations and emailing them to myself as evidence. Then I went deeper, looking for any communication between Amanda and this Mark person. It did not take long to find. In her Instagram direct messages, I discovered months of exchanges. They were filled with inside jokes, flirtatious comments, and occasional complaints about me. In one message, Mark asked when she would ditch the boring tech guy, and Amanda replied, "After he pays for the wedding and we get a house. Then we will see." The calculated nature of her betrayal stunned me. This was not a momentary lapse or a relationship that had naturally grown apart. This was premeditated exploitation. I called in sick to work and spent the morning contemplating my next move. Should I confront her immediately, pack my things and disappear, publicly expose her to our friends and family? Each scenario played out in my mind, but none felt right. At noon, I called Thomas, the one person I knew would give me straight advice without judgment. She said what Thomas exploded after I explained what I had discovered. That evil manipulative. I always knew something was off with her. I do not know what to do. I admitted, my voice breaking. I have the ring payments. The wedding venue deposits the lease on our apartment. Everything is entangled. Thomas took a deep breath. Do not confront her yet. She will just spin it, make excuses, manipulate you further. You need a plan first. Protect yourself financially. Talk to a lawyer about any joint accounts or assets. Then make your move. His advice made sense. Confronting Amanda in my current emotional state would likely end with her talking her way out of it, making me feel guilty for invading her privacy, or worse, convincing me to forgive her. I needed to be strategic. I spent the afternoon researching how to protect myself financially and legally. We had a joint checking account where most of my paycheck was deposited, which Amanda had full access to. I immediately opened a new personal account at a different bank and scheduled my direct deposit to change starting with my next paycheck. I withdrew half the money from our joint account, leaving Amanda's portion untouched to avoid tipping her off too soon. By the time Amanda came home that evening, I had composed myself enough to act normal. She kissed me hello, completely oblivious to the fact that I had discovered her true nature. I was thinking, she said, dropping her purse on the counter, we should put down the deposit for the Clayton Estate venue tomorrow. They have a cancellation for next June, and it would be perfect. The Clayton Estate was the most expensive venue on her list, almost double our original budget. That sounds great, I lied, forcing enthusiasm into my voice. How much do they need? Just $5,000 for now, she replied casually, as if asking for lunch money. Can you transfer it tomorrow? My account is a little low this month. Of course, I said, feeling a strange sense of calm wash over me. I will take care of it. You are the best. She hugged me, and I had to resist the urge to push her away. This is why I love you. Over the next week, I executed my plan methodically. I consulted with a lawyer who confirmed that since we were not yet married, the legal entanglements were minimal. The engagement ring was legally a gift that Amanda could keep, but I could reclaim any wedding deposits that were in my name. I gathered all evidence of Amanda's betrayal, organized my finances, and secured a short-term rental apartment across town. I quietly moved essential documents and irreplaceable possessions to Thomas's house when Amanda was not home. Through it all, I maintained the facade of an excited fiancé. I discussed wedding plans, house viewings, and our future together, as if nothing had changed. Amanda never suspected a thing, too absorbed in her wedding planning and secret conversations to notice the subtle changes in my behavior. The final piece of my plan required careful orchestration. I invited both our families and close friends to our apartment for what I called a wedding planning brunch on Saturday. Amanda was thrilled at the chance to showcase her ideas to everyone. This is perfect timing, she said as she planned the menu. We can announce our venue and show everyone the save-the-date designs. Exactly what I was thinking, I replied, knowing that announcements would indeed be made, just not the ones she expected. Saturday morning arrived, and Amanda buzzed around our apartment, setting up a beautiful brunch spread. She had spent days planning every detail, from the mimosa bar to the decorative napkins folded into swans. She wore a white sundress, practicing her bridal look. You look beautiful, I told her sincerely. Despite everything, I could not deny that she was stunning, which made the betrayal even more painful. Beauty on the outside could not compensate for ugliness within. Guests began arriving at 11 a.m. My parents came first, followed by Amanda's family, and then our closest friends. Notable among the arrivals were Jessica and Megan, Amanda's confidants from the group chat. They hugged me warmly, their duplicity as practiced as Amanda's. Once everyone had arrived and settled with drinks and food, I stood up to make what everyone assumed would be a toast to our upcoming wedding. I want to thank you all for coming today. I began, my heart pounding, but my voice steady. Family means everything to me, which is why I wanted everyone important in our lives to be here for this moment. Amanda beamed beside me, completely unsuspecting. Before we discuss wedding plans, I thought it would be nice to share a bit about our relationship journey. I continued, moving toward the television where I had connected my laptop earlier. I have put together something special. I pressed play on the presentation I had prepared. The screen displayed screenshots of the Bride Tribe group chat with certain phrases highlighted for emphasis. Temporary, supportive wallet milk. It boring, compared to Mark and men are so clueless. The room fell silent. I could feel the exact moment when Amanda realized what was happening. Her body stiffened beside me, and her champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. I clicked through more screenshots methodically, including her exchanges with Mark. I had edited out anything too personal or intimate, focusing only on the calculated nature of her deception. The final slide simply read, "The wedding is off." When I turned back to face the room, the expressions ranged from shock to horror to fury. Amanda's parents looked stunned, her father's face growing increasingly red. My mother had her hand over her mouth. Jessica and Megan stared at their plates, unable to meet anyone's eyes. Amanda finally spoke, her voice trembling. This is not what it looks like. Those messages were just jokes, stupid girl talk. You know I love you. Save it, I said quietly. I have read everything. I know about Mark. I know about your plans. I know the real reason you are with me. You went through my private messages. She attempted to flip the narrative, looking around for support. That is a violation of trust. Trust, I laughed without humor. You want to talk about trust while planning to use me and discard me, while mocking me to your friends, while emotionally cheating with a coworker. Amanda's mother stood up. Amanda Jean, tell me this is not true. Amanda's eyes filled with tears, but I could see the calculation behind them. Mom, he is taking everything out of context. We were just venting. Everyone does that. Calling your fiancé a temporary supportive wallet is not venting, Thomas interjected. It is revealing your true character. The next half hour was chaos. Amanda cycled through tears, anger, accusations, and finally desperate pleas. Her friends tried to slink away, but were stopped by Kyle, who blocked the door. You should hear this too, he told them. You are equally responsible. When the initial shock subsided, I calmly explained what would happen next. I have already moved out, I informed everyone. The wedding deposits in my name have been canceled. The venue will be notified tomorrow. The ring, I looked directly at Amanda, you can keep, as a reminder of what your greed cost you. I took out the ring box I had been carrying and placed it on the table. Consider it the final payment from your temporary supportive wallet. My account is now closed. The finality of the gesture silenced the room. Amanda's father, who had been unusually quiet, finally spoke. Amanda, get your things. Your mother and I need to have a serious conversation with you at home. The disappointment in his voice seemed to affect Amanda more than anything I had said. For the first time, she looked genuinely remorseful, but it was too late. As guests awkwardly gathered their belongings and began to leave, I felt a strange sense of peace wash over me. The burden of betrayal was now in the open, no longer mine alone to carry. My parents hugged me tightly, my mother whispering how proud she was of my strength. Thomas clapped my shoulder, a gesture that communicated more support than words could. When everyone had gone except Thomas, who insisted on staying to help clean up the apartment, felt larger somehow. Emptier, yet free of the toxic energy that had been suffocating me. How do you feel? Thomas asked as we threw away the untouched food. Hollow, I admitted, but relieved, like I just disconnected from a parasite. It will get better, he promised. The worst is over. He was right, but the healing journey was just beginning. The following months were a roller coaster of emotions. There were days when doubts crept in, when loneliness felt overwhelming, when I questioned if I had overreacted. Amanda called constantly at first, alternating between tearful apologies and angry accusations. I blocked her number after 2 weeks. The hardest part was rebuilding my sense of self-worth. Being used as a wallet had damaged my ability to trust not only others but my own judgment. How had I missed the signs? Was there something fundamentally unlovable about me that made financial security my only appealing quality? To address these questions, I joined a support group for people who had experienced similar betrayals. The stories I heard there helped put my experience in perspective. I was far from alone, and Amanda's behavior reflected her character flaws, not my worth as a person. I threw myself into work initially, using career success as a distraction. My boss noticed my increased focus and offered me a leadership role on an exciting new project. The creative challenge provided a healthy outlet for my energy and helped rebuild my confidence. Gradually, I reconnected with hobbies I had abandoned during my relationship with Amanda. I resumed rock climbing, joined a local hiking group, and signed up for cooking classes. Each activity helped reclaim pieces of myself that had been submerged under Amanda's expectations and demands. 6 months after the breakup, I bought a house. It was smaller than the one Amanda and I had looked at in a less prestigious neighborhood, but it was mine. Painting the walls, assembling furniture, and creating a space that reflected my tastes was deeply healing. 1 year after what would have been our wedding day, I met Sarah at a fundraising event for a local animal shelter. She volunteered there on weekends while working as an elementary school teacher during the week. Our connection was immediate but different from what I had experienced with Amanda. There was no whirlwind, no intensity, just a gentle recognition of compatible souls. Sarah listened more than she spoke. She noticed small details about people, She insisted on paying her share from our very first date. Most importantly, she valued experiences over possessions, choosing a weekend camping trip over an expensive dinner without hesitation. I was cautious at first, waiting for red flags to appear. But as months passed, Sarah consistently showed herself to be genuine. She was ambitious but ethical, attractive but humble, affectionate but respectful of boundaries. She never made me feel like an ATM or a stepping stone to something better. 2 years into our relationship, as we hiked to a mountain overlook for a picnic, I realized I had completely healed from Amanda's betrayal. The experience had taught me invaluable lessons about self-respect, about the importance of actions over words, and about the true meaning of partnership. Looking back, finding those messages was the most painful gift I ever received. Had I remained ignorant, I would now be trapped in a marriage with someone who saw me as nothing more than a financial resource. Instead, I had found true connection with someone who valued me for who I was, not what I could provide. Sometimes the greatest wounds open doors to the most beautiful journeys. Always trust your worth enough to walk away from those who cannot see it. Your bank account may fluctuate, but your intrinsic value never diminishes. Have you ever discovered someone was using you for ulterior motives? How did you handle it? Share your experience in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear that walking away is sometimes the greatest act of self-love. Thank you for listening to my journey. And remember, your worth is never determined by what you can give others, but by who you truly are.